Bem-vindo, cruisers, or as the Portuguese say, welcome to Lisbon. If you are new to Portugal, let me give you a little bit about why this is such an exciting place. In the 15th and 16th centuries, explorers like Vasco da Gama and Ferdinand Magellan set sail from right here, leading to the Age of Discoveries, making Portugal a powerhouse back in the day. And now you're going to dock not too far from this, and we'll tell you all about that later. But it truly is a city that is made for cruisers, and it is a wonderful place to explore. So let's learn a little bit more about Lisbon. Lisbon now is a major port for cruisers to disembark or embark, and also just to spend a day on a transatlantic. We've visited Lisbon several times, and it's always been just a treat. And you can see right now, here is me. We are distant. We are embarking on this particular cruise. This was last year, and I'm not going to lie, this was a great cruise. It started in Lisbon and it ended in Cape Town, South Africa. But you can get a little sense of the city, and you can also get a sense of how close you are to the main boulevard that's going to help you get around. But what I really want to show you is this. Isn't that a beautiful shot? So that was later that night as we were leaving, and we were going to sail right by that monument of discoveries. But truly, it is a place that is just gorgeous and made for sailing. So I want you to grab your ginga. That is one of the national drinks of Portugal. It is a cherry liqueur, and your pastel de nata, which is a wonderful custard dressing dessert. And let's talk about your day in Lisbon. So, Cruise Port Captain, we are a channel that is dedicated to port logistics, to helping you have the most easy day in port. We've been cruising for over 20 years, and we usually do the port days on our own just for the flexibility of it and to also be cost efficient. So, we're going to start off with those basics that you need to know when you get off the ship. As you saw from that last picture, it is so easy just to walk off the ship and get to the main boulevard, so you don't have to worry about tendering, any of that craziness. The currency is the euro because Portugal is a part of the EU, and this is such a high traffic tourist modern city that credit cards, we use them everywhere. We didn't even have euros, I think, this particular day or the couple of days that we were there. Immigration for US citizens right now, there is nothing beyond having a passport. They have not switched to their electronic system yet. But as you are cruising, you always want to check with the US State Department if you're a US citizen. And if you're traveling from other parts of the world, check with your equivalent to make sure that you don't need a visa or any more particular paperwork. The language is Portuguese. Don't really expect people to speak English all that much because you are in kind of more Southern Europe. And also, if you speak Spanish and you think you're going to be able to get by in Portuguese, they're not exactly the same. So don't feel that comfortable that you know Spanish fluently if you've never heard Portuguese. So just be ready for that. But people, in general, you can get by. And certainly people are helpful. And one thing that is kind of different about Portugal is the landscape is steep and hilly once you get past kind of the main part right next to the river. It can be quite difficult to get around. So, as you have mobility issues, you definitely want to take that into consideration how you decide to get around on a particular day. Weather-wise, this gives you a sense of the temperature. So typically when I've been doing European ports, I've only been giving you the summer, but Lisbon is such a major embarkation and disembarkation port now. You could be leaving any time of the year. For the last cruise, we were there in December as it was repositioning to Africa, but we've been there several times during the summer or on the cusp of summer with transatlantic. So just to give you a broader idea, the temperatures, it's pretty mild though, pretty mild. If you're a fan of Cruise Port Captain, you know that the captain here loves a good map. So there are two cruise ports in Lisbon, but more than likely you're going to be docking at the one where the ship icon is. Uh, all the times we've been to Lisbon, that's where we've been. But you never know. Sometimes there could be something wrong with the dock and they have to dock you at the other one. And you can see the distance between the two. But more than likely, you're going to be at the one where the arrow is pointing, and that's going to make your day very easy because it's very much accommodating the large cruise ships, which is more than likely what you're going to be on. With the history of Lisbon being a major nautical power for centuries, a lot of stuff is happening right next to the ship. So, really easy to get around in Lisbon. You can walk along the waterfront, which is a large promenade, and that kind of leads to all the big stuff. If you decide to go further than that, Uber is available. We Ubered a lot as well. Now, we did Uber because we were there a couple of days prior to disembarkation or embarkation. I always keep messing that stuff up. But Uber worked really well as well. To give you a sense too, logistically or geographically where you are, you can see that the ship is to the right of the screen. And one of the major things, if you want to see the Monument of the Discoveries even closer and go to Belém Tower, they're next to each other. So the final dot here is actually at the Discovery, the Monument's Discovery. But if you go a little bit further, you're going to go to Belém Tower. This is a very easy walk. It's flat, it's a promenade the whole way, and it is 3.5 kilometers, which is about 2 miles for those of us who deal in the English system. But it's an easy walk, or obviously you can take an Uber if that is better for you. And here is me on a different trip. I believe this was a transatlantic trip at the Monument of the Discoveries. You can just see like the scale of the size was so impressive. Those statues are almost life size of all of the explorers. It is really something to see up close and personal. Besides the monument to the left, the other big thing that is really the major place you're going to spend your day is to the right of the cruise ship. And that is about a 4K walk, as it says on the screen. So for my English numbers folks, that's about 2.5 miles. And that is the Portuguese way it's written, but it's really the place of commerce is what it's called. And that's really the entrance to the old city and the downtown area. And once you get there, you're really just kind of a great day walking around and exploring. Now, that particular part is pretty flat. So you're going to be easy to get around, but it's also cobblestone. So if you're in a wheelchair or you're having some challenges, maybe you use a cane, you might have a little more challenges there because it is a classic old European city. And here are some of the pictures that we took from that downtown. So you can see on the bottom left there, that is the plaza place of commercial. You can go to the top of that arch, and we did. That is where the top right, that's where the first mate is taking that picture. They do have a tram system, so that's another way to get around. We didn't use it. Sometimes we find trams a little more confusing than buses because, it's a little more hectic. But if you're used to a tram, might be a great option to get around. Portugal is famous for their tiles. I took a picture of that. And then you can see at the center, I made a stop on the boulevard and I had one of those. I'm going to look at my words again. Pasta del nata, that beautiful flan dessert. Oh, I could eat those every day. So make sure you stop and get one of those. They have lots of them in bakeries, lots of ice cream, lots of great places to enjoy a nice port day in Lisbon. If you remember that beautiful night shot from the beginning of the video where we were going through the river, on the right side was the sanctuary of the Christ King. So this is a slightly different version of the Christ of the Redeemer statue that is in Rio de Janeiro. It's a smaller version, but still impressive. And if you want to see that, you cannot walk to it. You definitely will have to use transportation that involves some wheels. So this is from a car. Now we did do Uber on this one, and it still was a 21-minute ride. And not only is it a long ride, it's a very circular ride because of the hills and the steepness. but it is really an impressive monument because there's things in the monument which are hard to see from the outside. And this is again a different shot, a little bit more zoomed into the statue, what it looks like at night. Isn't that just something? It really is just really wonderful and impressive to see from far away. But this is what it looks like nearby. So this was when we actually made it all the way there. Things to point out here, so you can see you can go up in that tower. So that's what part of the ticket is you go all the way up to the top and you walk around the bottom of the base of the statue. You can't go all the way to Christ's head, but you can go to the top. That's where that picture that I'm taking is from. And this also points out how quickly the weather can change in Lisbon. So again, this was December and it started to rain and it got really cold. So always have that handy jacket that can do multiple things for you. And to show you the steepness, I also took a picture of the landscape from that top platform. So you can see it is very hilly. But this was worth it. I mean, if you definitely have the time to go, it takes a couple of hours because of the traffic. And, you could, especially if you're going on a busy day, you want to be sure that you allow plenty of time to do this. And we don't always talk about using hop on and hop off buses, but Lisbon might be, if you only have one day because it's a port day, it might be a good consideration for this particular day. Not because of the distances, things are kind of compact, but because of the landscape. I mean, the first mate and our traveling companion, they wanted to go to St. George's Castle and they were going to walk it. And I said, dudes, I'm out. It was just too steep for me. So they walked up it, and it was just really a hard and difficult walk. And they ended up taking an Uber down. Now, the challenge with Uber, I will say as well, is that the city can be very congested. So you might be waiting a long time for Ubers. Or they might, if you've ever been to a place where an Uber like picked up something and then they decided to change their mind, that can happen as well. So a hop on, hop off bus in Lisbon might be a great option. If there is a little affiliate link there, if you want to book your tickets ahead of time, you can just scan the QR code or I'll put a link in the description. Or you can just pay the day you get there. But I looked at the route and it's going to hit all the major things and save you a lot of physical trouble by not walking up and down all of those darn hills. Okay, I say that as a Floridian because everything to me that's above like a tiny degree of incline is really a pain in my hiney. So if it's not for you, you like walking those steep inclines, you like the Tour de France, go for it. But for me, I'll take a hop on hop bus or an Uber any day. Final thoughts, if you are lucky enough that Lisbon is the beginning or the end of your cruise, so you have a couple of more days, I just wanted to show you that this was the pension that we stayed at. So pensions are not formal hotels. They're a little more the traditional European, smaller boutique hotels. So this is the view from our room. So I left you the name of the hotel there. So from that square, you could walk to everything. I do remember too that we went, since it was December, Christmas markets are really big in Germany and at Christmas time, but they had one there too, which was very unexpected and nice, and we could easily walk to it. And if you even have more time, there's a really fantastic castle in Sintra, but it is a train trip away. So you probably don't have enough time to do it on a port day, unless that's all you want to do. If you've been to Lisbon before and you want to venture out. The thing about this Palace at Pina is that it's by the same architect who built Neuschwanstein in Germany. If you don't know what Neuschwanstein is, that is the castle that Cinderella's castle is based on at Orlando in Disney World. So it's really a fascinating place to go to. Those are two things you can do if you have more time, and we hope you do. Obrigado for making it all the way to the end. Obrigado is thank you in Portuguese. If you've enjoyed this video, if you could do us two huge favors, is one, tell your friends about it. If they're cruisers, hopefully this channel helps them plan their best port day. And two, we are a newer channel, and what I've learned is that those subscriptions mean the world to us as a small channel. So if you could do me just a quick favor and hit subscribe, that would be great. Like, of course, if you have any questions, comment below. We are happy to help. We just want you to have the best time that you can in Lisbon or on any cruise that you take and any port day that you have. So make life a bon voyage, and we'll see you next time. Bye.